Okay, so now we're gonna actually work on being able to climb up and down the ladder because I realized, I jumped way ahead of you guys and I'm coming back. So you're probably looking like this. This is what you probably see when you're on the ladder, like this, and you're floating around everywhere. That's what you're probably seeing. So now I'm gonna set it up to where you're looking like how we were just a second ago, actually going up and down the ladder. So let's go ahead and open up our character blueprint. Here one. I have duplicates of things because I'm doing this tutorial, so I gotta kind of work ahead and come back. So now we're gonna go ahead and modify this. So on our move, we need to check if we're first branch. And I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more conditions where we want to stop this, but for now, if we're in the process of going in our climb transition, we don't want the player to be able to move. So let's go ahead and connect this to false. Let's move this back a bit. Give us some room to work. And then we need to run a sequence because there's a few things we got to do. Sequence. And then we're going to first go to another branch. We're going to check, are we climbing? So are we climbing? And if we're false, then we can move left and right. Actually, no, we don't need to do a sequence. I'm tripping. We can just do that. Not a sequence. Branch. We can just do a branch right here. If we're not climbing, all of this works normally. If we are climbing, we need to do this. We need to set our rotation to movement. So let's get character movement. Orient rotation to movement. Set it. So if we are climbing, we need to turn this to false. And then I'm gonna do this again. This needs to be true every single time. Set to true and then go. Give myself some more room because it's getting cluttered. So let's do that. So first off, if we're climbing, we need to turn this orientate rotation to movement off because when we're going up and down, we don't need to rotate or turn the player anyway. We need to let the ladder handle that. And then we're going to get controller rotation. And we just need to get the up vector. Get up vector. Here we go. Split. Get up vector. Now we need to add movement input based off where we're going up. So we do that here. And we only need, I believe we only need the Y. Yeah, because we're going up and down. So we need Y. So let's go off of here. And then after that, we're going to need to call a custom event. So let's create a custom event over here. Custom event. Add custom event. Climb line traces. And we're going to call that climb line traces. Boom. Now, this is going to, obviously what it's going to do is do line traces whenever we're going up and down. Let's go ahead and see what that has changed already. So let's walk here, go down. Oops, I done fell out here. Get up. There we go. So now let's go here and you'll see now we can't go left and right and float away, but we can go up and down. So we already made a big change. But when we go up, we'll be continuously going up forever. So now let's fix that. So let's go here to our climb line traces. And we need to do a lot of things. So first off, we need to input. Add an input. Up/down. And we need to turn that into a float. What did I just turn it into? Float. Turn it into a float. And the input for that is going to also be the Y. Or Let's do it from here. So we need that. And now this is where it's gonna get a little complicated, but follow me. So now we're gonna do a up, and I followed the tutorial to kind of refine this, and I'll link that in the description. So I'm not trying to take credit for somebody else's thing. I modified it a bit to my needs, so you should also do the same for my tutorial. Take what you need and modify it. Don't try to copy it one for one. So one, we're gonna check if it's greater, because that's gonna determine if it's greater, that means we're going up. And if it's less than 0, we're going down. So let's start with 1. Line trace by channel. And we're going to need to get our actor location. Get actor rotation. And we're going to need to get our forward vector. And we're going to need to multiply this by I did 1,000. Basically, this is gonna. Oh, we need to do it by float. Multiply. I need this by float. 1,000. So that's just gonna say how far the line trace is gonna go in front of the player. And we're gonna do 1,000. 1,000 was good enough for me. And then we're gonna get the active location plus 100. Because if we're going up, okay, if this is our player right here, we want to do line traces above him to see if there's any more ground or any more ladder for him to climb onto. So now that's our starting point. We're gonna start right above his head, and then we're gonna add this to this. And it's gonna shoot out in front of him. And you'll see, we'll show that right now for duration. Duration is 5 seconds, cool. And let's show what that looks like. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Well, it's still a show. But let's go here, and you'll see the line trace is starting. And it's showing green because it's hitting something. So there's that. Boom. Now we're going to go here. Return value. Branch. If it doesn't hit anything, that means we know that we're going, like there's no more ladder and there's no more ground to climb up. And we're also going to get our velocity. We might not necessarily need this part. We don't need this part. Never mind. Just cut that out. That's how we refine stuff as we go. So if that's false, we're going to do a for loop break. So the reason we're going to do this, oh no, we don't need it like that. For loop with break. And we don't need the array. We need the flow control. So we're going to do 20. Now what we're going to do is not only are we going to check what's right above, we're going to actually make sure, for example, let's say this is the player. Not only are we going to check to make sure there's nothing above it, but we're going to actually make sure that there's a ground to walk on in front of that. So that's what this is going to do. So to loop the body, we're going to do another line trace by channel. And we're going to need to break these hit results. Break hit results. And we'll need the trace start. And we'll need to plus that by add. I believe we need, let's do 100 again. 100. Then plus, and we're going to need to do this, multiplied by 6. And I'll explain what this means in just a second. So bear with me. Then we're going to multiply it again. We need this. Get actor rotation and forward vector. Oops. That's what we need that. And we need to change this to a vector. To vector, get forward vector. And then we're going to plus this. And then that's going to be our starting point. And then our ending point, we're going to subtract by 100. And I'm going to explain this again like I said. Oh, wait. This has got to be smaller. 90. 100. All right, now let's explain. So what we did was we're multiplying this by 6 because we're finding out where the forward vector is. Where the forward vector is, and we're multiplying it by 6. So if the player is here, say it's this piece, we're going to multiply it by 6. So we start a little bit in front of the player. A little bit in front of where the forward direction is. And our trace is going to start above, and it's going to end 100 beneath. And we have to do it less because we have to go a little bit deeper to make sure that there's a ground there. So we're going to send it a little bit deeper. So we're starting at 90 and we're ending at 100. And I'll show what it looks like for duration. For a loop body. Let's just show what it looks like really quick before I continue. And you'll see exactly what it does. Going down. Now watch when it goes up. See, it shot out a bunch of ones going down in front of it. And it did hit the ground at some point. So we need to check the ground in front to make sure we're actually hitting something. And there's a ground to walk on. So if that is, let's do a branch. If it actually hits something. And let's make sure it's, do this, hits. And I'm feeling like I'm going to have to come back to clarify that it's not hitting just the ladder. And let's do that. Let's actually do that. I'm going to go ahead and add that. Break hit results. You can close this back up now so it doesn't continuously take up that much space because we don't need all that. Go down here, down here, down here. Hit actor, class, get class, not equal to our ladder. We don't want it to hit the ladder and say, yeah, it hit something. It's not equal to ladder. Also, let's just do that for now. I'm going to come back and change this. I have a feeling this is going to need to be redone, but we're just going to do that for the ladder for now. Condition. Let's make that. Oh, and so let's make sure it hit something first and it didn't hit the ladder. And if that is true, we're going to do a sequence. We're going to disable our input again because we're about to go into an animation. Disable our input. And then now we're going to need to do this once. We're going to do it once in case like it hits multiple times so it doesn't run and do the same thing multiple times. Do this once. Play montage. We're going to get a reference to our mesh. And we're going to do the climb end. Just a regular one, not the reverse one. And we're going to set our climbing to be false after this because this is the animation that we're going up on the ladder. So now on notify begin, this is again whenever we're going up the ladder and we get to this point in the animation and we start climbing up. So we're going to now, once that notification begins, set climb transition to true. And we're going to need to move the component again. Excuse me. And the component we're going to get it move is our capsule. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. Ease in and out. We want that checked. And 0.5. We'll do 0.5. That should be fine. So now we need to get where we need to move it to. First off, the target location. Get the capsule component. Get that. Get world location. We're going to plus this by, and you're gonna have to play with this number because that's what I did. I didn't have an exact way to calculate this, but I know it's 170 for me because that's how big my character is. and it looked best to me. So 170 here. Just that easy. And we're going to get actor forward because he's going to be facing the ladder already. Make rot from X. And that's going to be our target relative rotation. Blah, blah, blah. Can't talk again. And then that's moving it up. So we moved it up. Now we need to move it over onto the top of the land or wherever it's at. Now let's duplicate this. Again, we're moving the capsule component. Move. We're going to, this is going to stay the same. And now we're going to do get, how did we do this point? We're going to need a plus this. I do know that. Plus, we're going to need to add our world location again. But what are we adding it with again? All right, we need to get our actor rotation. We need to get actor. Well, this should be fine. Get actor forward vector. The get actor forward vector, and then right here. And then after that's finished, we can set the climb transition to false. And we can change our character movement to walking. Walking, 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 walking. And then we can enable our input again. And then where are we going to after that? We got to go back somewhere. Where does this go back to? Oh, yeah. We got to reset our do once. Let's go back and let's reset this. Because if you do not reset your do once, the next time you climb a ladder, you will not go through this process again. So you have to reset it. Cool beans. I believe we're all good there. Now right here, we got to finish this out. So the next part of our sequence, the one thing we need to do then, very simple, we need to break. Because we don't need to keep doing, we don't need to run the rest of this. We don't need to run the rest of the loop and send more traces if we already know we hit something. Hit a ground that it can walk on, so we can stop that. Let's do that. Do that. Boom. And now we're good to go. Let's do this. Oh wait, I made a mistake. No, I didn't. I'm good. Now let's see what that looks like. Going up this ladder. Going up should work. Going down won't work just yet. We're going up. We're rotating. Going down, going up. Okay, what did we do wrong this time? Okay, one thing we're going to have to do is remove this and right here because it's a little redundant. I still feel like I'm going to have to change something. Something doesn't seem right about this. But I'll come back to that later. So we'll just do the now. For now, just the ladder. If it's not the ladder, we can keep going. And one thing we're also going to have to change was this. From the get actor forward vector, this is after we play our animation to go up the ladder. We need to multiply this by float by 100 for me. 100 worked for me. So now let's do that. Compile, save. And let's see what this does. So now we should be good to go. Let's go up, 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 up. Boom. And now he's on the ladder. And now we're walking.